We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions edition after the Tar Heels cruise past UC Riverside. The final score was 77-52, and the game wasn't even that close. Carolina led by as many as 30. Tar Heels only trailed for about a minute, and that was very early in the game. Carolina, 21 points for Armando Bacot, double figures off the bench for Jalen Washington and Seth Trimble. Harrison Ingram with 10 points and 9 rebounds as well. Jones and Adam here with you, and we're going to interview Hubert Davis coming up in just a minute. Adam talked to Seth Trimble, who had the highlight of the game with a big dunk and also had 11 points, played his normal good defense. Adam, UC Riverside came into this game struggling to shoot the basketball. Those struggles continued in this game. They end up shooting 30.5%, although that was with about 3 or 4 made baskets in the final 90 seconds or so. They didn't even have a field goal in the first 9.5 minutes of the second half. I do think UC Riverside has some struggles offensively in total, but I also think Carolina's defense was good. A lot of those shots were late shot clock, guarded jump shots, which are exactly what you're hoping to get.
It felt like Carolina got a lot of deflections. We don't have that number, but it felt like Carolina was in the passing lanes a lot. Jalen Withers is a guy who always kind of seems to be in the way, and the Tar Heels made it difficult for UC Riverside to do what they wanted to. Half their shots were threes. They took 33s out of 62 field goals. So they just bombed away, and they didn't go in, and it was going to be tough for them to win if the threes weren't going in.
Carolina blocked 8 shots in this game as well, and they were not fingertip blocks. These were like volleyball spike blocks for Carolina in this game. So just in total, I mean, Adam, Carolina's more talented than UC Riverside. This was a game the Tar Heels expected to win, but they did so in very convincing fashion. I don't even think 25-point margin tells you the story of this game.
And there's something to be said for being convincing against the teams that you should be convincing against, because we've seen the Tar Heels not do that. And again, for the third straight game, we're going to say the same thing. Carolina got a big win without even shooting the ball well. And I do think they're going to shoot it better than this eventually. It's time to start, though, next week.
Yeah, you'd like to see it other than just think it's going to happen. R.J. Davis and Cormac Ryan, arguably Carolina's best 2 3-point shooters, 1 of 11 from behind the arc. So that obviously needs to get better for the Tar Heels to reach what they want to reach this year. Okay, let's get to our interviews. I spoke with Coach Davis. Adam talked to Seth Trimble. We'll send you to those. Come back. We'll wrap things up on the back end as well. It's a Rapid Reactions edition after a 25-point win of the Carolina Insider. Yeah, Dave, thanks. We're inside the Continental Tire Coach's Corner alongside the head coach of the Tar Heels, Hubert Davis. Carolina leads this game by as many as 32 at one point and ends up winning by 25, 77-52. Great to be with you. Congratulations. And a game that your team really grabbed control of early and never let go. What'd you like from your guys this evening?
Well, that stretch in the first half was fun to watch. It was really good on both ends of the floor. I thought, we were locked in defensively. We're able to get out in transition, and I think it was like a 17-0 stretch there, and that was fun to watch. Disappointed in how we finished the half. I felt like we had a chance to open up the game even more, and for whatever reason we took a deep breath and lost the momentum going into the half. But then I was just really proud of them defensively. Riverside did run a ton of action, ball movement. They've got everybody can shoot the three, including their centers, and I thought we did a really good job moving our feet and defensively locking in the second half on a night that we really didn't shoot the ball, as well as I know we can shoot. Defense was really good tonight.
I was going to ask you, I don't think your team has shot as well from the outside, as you said, as you think they can. And yet you've put up 90 and 77 and mid-80s. Why is this team able to still put up really good offensive numbers, even though it hasn't hit the outside shot like you want just yet?
Well, one of the things that we stress from an offensive standpoint is dominating points in the paint through post penetration and, offensive rebounds. And when you do that, it allows you to get to the free throw line. So there's a number of ways that you can score offensively, when you're not shooting the ball particularly well. And so having Armando down there be dominant in the post, and then, we've got guards that can attack and get to the basket. That allows us to still be efficient offensively when we don't shoot the ball well from three-point range.
Carolina was plus 14 in the paint, plus 14 in second chance points, plus 10 at the free throw line tonight.
Rebounded, and that's the number one thing that I told them going into the locker room. Our goal is to be plus 15 rebounding every game. That's been a foundation piece for Carolina basketball. Offensive rebounding, and one of the best, if not the best, defensive rebounding teams in the country. That's just huge. It doesn't matter about, made shots, missed shots. If you can defend, if you can rebound, and if you can take care of the basketball, you're going to be in position to win basketball games.
Coach, I want to ask you about two guys off the bench tonight, Jalen Washington and Seth Trimble, both in double figures. Both of them is the second time in their Tar Heel careers. Two guys who came back to your program and seem to have made some strides. What'd you like from what you've seen from them tonight and the first couple games this year?
Yeah, well, I was really impressed with them, defensively. Seth, has the athleticism to really be able to guard anybody out there on the floor, and, he can rebound. And I just think the progression of Jay Wash has just been fun to watch. He's moving his feet well defensively. He's a great talker, communicator. Actually, he's our best post defender. He does a really good job in the post, keeping opposing big guys out of the middle. And tonight, people also got to see that, Jay Wash can shoot the ball as well. So he's a guy that can finish around the basket, attack the offensive glass, but when open, he can knock down that three-point shot, and I was really happy for him and for Seth.
I assume you taught Seth that finish at the rim that he had in transition.
Yeah, I just kind of reminded him what I used to do when I played. It's funny, during shoot-around, we ran a play and he went in there and dunked it. And I said, that's great, 5-on-0. He goes, I want to see that in a game. As soon as he did, he looked over at me and I go, well done. That's great. And I like to him for do that every game.
Coach, last thing, you guys are heading to the Bahamas now. Really great field, and your team will be stressed, as all the teams there will be. 3 games in 3 days. What are your goals as your team heads to a really good battle for Atlantis?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider playing basketball 3 days in a row stress. I think that's fun. Getting an opportunity to go to the Bahamas and compete against some of the better teams in the country, that's a blessing. That's a joy of being able to be in that position. So I'm fired up. I can't wait to get up there, and we've got 3 days of preparation and practice for Northern Iowa, and then for the rest of the week. But I'm excited to play in this tournament. I think we're going to learn a lot about us in the next week and just help us moving forward throughout the remainder of the year.
Tar Heels will head to the Bahamas 3-0 after a dominating victory tonight over UC Riverside in the Smith Center. Coach, it's always great to talk with you. Congratulations, and look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, thanks a lot. See you later.
That's Hubert Davis, guys, inside the Continental Tire Coach's Corner.
Alongside Seth Trimble, after Carolina beats UC Riverside, Seth ties his career high. Seth, what'd you feel like you did well tonight?
I felt like I just played my game. I had a lot of people telling me that since the end of last season, since that ending. And, people just been in my ear. And, I think really like these past 2 weeks after I came back from injury, I just really started to take hold of it and really started to, do that every single day. And, it led to progress. And what happened today?
Been in your ear to do what?
Play my game. I think last year I definitely wasn't the same player that, I am. And, everybody knew that and everybody around me knew that. So just having the right people in my ear, the coaches, my coaching staff, my teammates, old coaches, whatever. It's definitely helped.
We are going to talk about the dunk. Don't worry. We'll get to that. I promise we're not going to forget. Riverside only shot about 30%. You're a big part of Carolina's defense. What did the Tar Heels do well defensively tonight?
I really think we took pride in it. Riverside, I think they were 6th in the nation in three-point attempts. They, still got off a few three-pointers, hit a few, but I definitely think we did a good job of just maintaining, staying in front of our man, and just maintain our defensive principles. Just taking pride. If we take pride every day in our defensive abilities, we can really be special.
If I feel like I've heard 2 things from Hubert Davis at practice repeatedly, it's run and look inside. It felt like you were really consciously doing both those things tonight. When those things happen, how does that make the offense better?
It just helps us flow. When Armando gets the ball, it's either a foul, a kick out to an open shooter, a double team where we can get baskets. something good always happens when we run, first of all, in transition, and then when we look inside. That's where we're best. We didn't shoot well tonight, but how much did we win by? 30, and that was just from straight pounding the ball inside and doing what we do.
Yeah, if there's something that people are kind of confused about, this team really hadn't shot that well through the first 3 games. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's a good shooting team. What's the missing piece there?
I think guys are just getting acclimated still. Shots aren't falling right now. It's early in the season. Maybe competition is – affecting them. Some guys play better when they get to the P5 schools and things really got to go. But I think guys are just getting acclimated because, you see them in practice. You see them. Guys on this team can really shoot. So I think that's to come.
Okay. Also to come is this conversation about the dunk. Jalen Withers gets the block. RJ Davis throws the long bounce pass. Seth Trimble with the finish. Take us through that play.
I've been hunting one since Johnson C. Smith preseason last year. I've been hunting one. So the second I got that fast break, I knew I was by the rim. Honestly, my mind wasn't even to dunk it, but I just went up with it. Honestly, I got hit in the face. My eyes were closed when I dunked it, but it went in, and I had to let out some emotion, when you let out the emotion after a good play, the confidence just goes up, and everything really starts to get going.
How do you know your eyes were closed? Have you already seen the picture?
I felt it. I got smacked while I dunked it.
That guy's 6'7".
Is he?
Yeah. Well, that's what the roster says.
I dunked on taller.
How tall have you dunked on?
Maybe like 6'9". Promise Maduka, one of my good friends from back home. If he's ever listening on this, he can attest to it.
He was your good friend until about 3 seconds ago. For those of us who don't dunk very often or as often as you, is it a lot harder to go up off 2 feet with 2 hands? It feels like it would be.
It definitely is. I would definitely recommend for myself 2 feet, 1 hand, but that's kind of just like the safest option I always go with. It's like literally my go-to ever since sophomore year of high school when I got my bounce. That's like kind of all I've done. So I'll make sure the next one's 1 hand.
Okay. You heard it here first. The next one's 1 hand. Go to Seth Trimble for all your dunking tips. That's Seth after he ties his career highs in Carolina's win over UC Riverside. Seth, thank you.
Thank you.
So, again, the final 77-52. Adam, I do just want to mention Seth Trimble's dunk was nasty.
Well, as you just heard him say, that's not even the tallest guy he's ever gotten. But it was still impressive. And he did confirm off the air, we had talked about how it looked like in the Lehigh game, he had a notion of trying to dunk on a big guy. And he said, yes, I definitely was thinking about it. But then I realized that I took off from too far away.
Oof.
I'd hate it when that happens.
Adam, you don't know this, but we're getting a good look of that dunk finish. But we're going to get multiple angles of it, and every one of them is awesome as Seth Trimble elevated and finished with some anger over UC Riverside.
Well, and keys to the play, the Withers block and the RJ Davis long bounce pass. And as Hubert Davis always says, he wants to see his team celebrate each other's great plays. RJ Davis was out there jumping around like he had dunked it like that after Seth did. So I thought that was good to see as well.
Okay, so Carolina now 3-0, heading to the Bahamas next week. They'll play Northern Iowa, then either Villanova or Texas Tech. And then after that, it will be either Michigan, Arkansas, Memphis, or Stanford. So a terrific field, and going to know a lot about Carolina, I think, after that week. And then it doesn't get any easier. They still have a bunch of tough games, but these will be 3 games, 3 days in a row, some immediate feedback of where the Tar Heels are.
And some of those opponents have already gotten some feedback. Villanova, Michigan, Arkansas all took losses this week and or tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. The Tar Heels get to go in undefeated, but we know it hasn't always been easy in the Bahamas when Carolina's gone down there.
Yeah, Tar Heels heading to the battle for Atlantis. They're leaving on Sunday and don't play till Wednesday. So they'll be there for a couple days before starting their action, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in that event. But for tonight, the Tar Heels improved to 3-0 with a 77-52 win over UC Riverside. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Rapid Reactions edition of the Carolina Insider.